So, guess what just got announced? Just popped up right here on my Twitter feed. I mean, I just got on Twitter, like about half an hour ago, right? Just browsing around, and I see a certain something in regards to E3, which is next week, literally next week. Um, and it has something to do with Hyperkin, and it has a little bit of something to do with a console that a lot of people have been clamoring to want from Hyperkin, or to want in general from clone console makers for a while, and that is the Nintendo 64. So this YouTuber, who I'm assuming works with Hyperkin, has released footage of the Ultra Retron. Now, for those that don't know, the Nintendo 64's original name was called Project Ultra, and Ultra 64, before selling on Nintendo 64. From what I've seen of this, and I'm gonna do a little bit of a, not really a reaction anymore, just kind of show you guys the video, to show you guys the video, and for you guys to watch it as well. I will have the link to the YouTuber in the description down below. I'm assuming the guy works with Hyperkin, and if not, well, I'm sorry. That's a little bit of misinformation on my end. But I think it might be good. I think it might be okay. It might be passable. Definitely looks in the beta stages of everything. But I'm gonna stop talking too much about. I'm gonna stop rambling as much, and I'm gonna go into the video momentarily. This was shared by Modern Vintage Gamer, who, if you have not seen any of his videos, by the way, you should check him out. He is awesome at what he does. Link to his YouTube channel will be in the description below as well. Definitely check him out. He's awesome. One of my favorites out there, by the way. We'll just go into here, and we're going to go full screen. We're gonna full screen that. Oh shit, hold on. Full screen that. There we go. See, this looks cool, by the way. Just saying. Alright, so that's the video in its entirety, or almost in its entirety. It's like, thanks for watching, or now seeing either things of that nature. I'm gonna turn the volume all the way off here. Just to kind of talk about some things I observed. So the back is only going to have a micro USB, or that's micro USB, right? Yeah, micro USB and HDMI. To some that might be weird, to others that might be, oh, that's normal. I know some people are gonna want AV out. Some people might actually say it's a negative. I don't care. As look, this is not gonna be something like this is not gonna be meant for people like you. Not people like you. This is probably not gonna be meant for people who really want that AV out. Because at that rate, you might as well buy an OG N64. And if you're worried, oh, well, what about region lock? Dude, you just clip the fucking tabs inside the cartridge bay, and there you go. Like, it's that fucking simple. But I mean, I did expect a little bit more. I don't know. Low-key, I kind of expected. Hold on, click. Low-key, I kind of expected an SD card slot like in the Hyperkin Retron 77. That's not the case here. If you notice, hold on. If you notice real quick, let's see if I can find it. If you notice right here, and I'll do like a little zoom up in post, the reflection is not necessarily accurate to, like, if you look up here, it's supposed to show a reflection of what your character is doing, and it's not. And that's how you can definitely tell. By the way, I'm really sorry about the flashing stuff. It was supposed to be synthwave bullshit over here. We're just gonna pause that for now. It looks like whatever they're using, they're probably using an emulator that's sourced for this. Whatever settings they have it set on isn't exactly emulating like every aspect of Mario Kart 64, because if it did, it would show the reflection right there. Now I know this is probably very in beta, because this is supposed to be an E3 sneak peek, as it says in the video title. So I'm not going to complain too much. There's a lot of time between now and when this potentially gets released. I have hopes for this. And also, peep out that freaking controller right there. It looks like it's not using the standard joystick. If I can get a, actually that's probably there we go. It doesn't look like it's using the standard joystick. It looks like it might have some kind of soft padding on it. It looks definitely thicker than the OG one, which is like this thin plastic stick nub thing that you get blisters on your hand and have to send out freaking injury forms to Nintendo, so they would send you a freaking handguard for that shit, which I found it to be bullshit. Now something else I noticed is that the image still looks a little bit on the fuzzy side. That's also like how the Nintendo 64 was, though. It was a very foggy, blurry type of machine. And I noticed right here, this guy, whoever is doing this, is showcasing not just the 4:3 aspect ratio, but also the 16:9. So there's definitely some kind of switch somewhere. If I were to assume, it's probably it's probably because it's a dev console. He probably was able to enable it within the settings, or maybe there's a switch inside the console itself. Which is cool in theory, but I mean, realistically, no one's gonna want to play their Nintendo 64 games in 16:9. As much as I'm a proponent in, playing however you want to play, they're not gonna do it. I'm sorry. I know this is like lengthy and this is gonna drag out a little bit. This is almost like a breakdown of what you see in the trailer. It looks like it has a different modes too, because I noticed in the 007 footage it was 007 and Mario Kart footage, it was blurry. It was blurry between both 16:9 and 4:3. Here you can kind of tell there's a jaggies in it now, like they took out the blur filter on there and settled on like raw video, or as raw as you can with whatever emulator they're using, which looks good. It doesn't look bad. Now, granted, by the way, I love how the console itself looks. I kind of like the aesthetic using like some of the base colors of the more popular Nintendo 64 models. Anyways, it doesn't look bad, it doesn't look great. I could definitely see a use of like maybe a menu system to enable certain options, like you could with the Hyperkin Retron 3 or the CyberGadget Retro Gadget. Wow, I've been watching too much Crazy Retro Hacker. CyberGadget Retro Freak, where you could set the filters, you can set them up how you want, or if you just want no softness of any sort. That's how I would want to play my Nintendo 64 games personally, with no softness. I don't care if there's jaggies everywhere. It's a freaking 3D game. There's gonna be sharp edges no matter what. I would like the option there. Again, this is just an E3 preview demo, and I'm sure they're gonna do a little bit of fine tuning between now and E3 when it's on the show floor. But overall my impression of this is that I definitely want to see more of this. I want to see like the development process. I want to see everything about this, because this could be a really nice machine to bring home one day. Whether it be you getting into Nintendo 64 games for the very first time, or you bringing Nintendo 64 games to your home and bringing it into your kids' lives. It's definitely an interesting concept. I just hit space on OBS. I'm gonna hit on that. It's definitely an interesting concept, to say the least, because really Nintendo 64 has been such a highly requested console to try to get cloned, and it's been like a bitch and a half to be able to do it. And the fact that Hyperkin is working on it is awesome. This is coming from someone who has not been a fan of the Hyperkin product as of late, for a long time, because I've had a very bad experience with the Retron 3 and Retron Hyperkin Retron 5. That's what it was. Yeah, it's the Retron 5, not the Retron 3, but the Retron 5, because the power source that they used, they were still stuck on DC and not upgrading to USB. I'm hoping that they include for this is a switch, at least on the back, or maybe a menu feature. Like, it's clear that they're using an emulator. I don't know what emulator they're using. I'm not going to E3, so I can't ask them this question myself, otherwise I probably would. But I could definitely see there being a use. And to people who are like, oh, well, just get yourself a Nintendo 64 and freaking get yourself a Nintendo 64, get yourself a OSSC or a FrameMeister, get your Nintendo 64 RGB modded. You realize how much money that is, right? The 64 is not that much. The 64 is like maybe $50. The console itself, you can get a couple games for it, and that's all fine and dandy. But then if you want to play it on a modern TV, you're gonna have to get it RGB modded, and then you're gonna have to get a RGB to HDMI gimmick, and then you're gonna have to get the proper cables, and it is a mess and a hassle and a half for something that really is only so worth it. I mean, base price for the Ultra Retron, I'm predicting is going to be within the 120 range, because I know the Hyperkin Retron 5 was about $120 when I bought it. 120, maybe 119, 115. I don't remember. I haven't gotten around to seeing the prices for it. I bought it like I'd say a year after it came out, maybe less. But so I don't remember the exact MSRP for it, but I don't see this being too much more than what the Retron 5 was. Just based on the fact that this is going to be more mass produced. If you got a Nintendo 64 and you modded it, or you tried to get it modded and stuff, you would be spending a lot more money than what they're going to sell this for, because it's going to be a mass produced product. I do see this having more features as the development goes on. This is just a beta put together box to show you that yes, it is a thing, and yes, they are gonna pump it out on like Polymega. That's besides the point. But I'm impressed. I'm definitely impressed, because no one has really made an attempt to do this kind of thing, or at least that I know of, and do it to somewhat decent succession. I would have liked to see other games being tested on there. GoldenEye was nice to see, because it's a game that is on the more intensive side, but I would have rather have seen like Donkey Kong 64 or Conquer, or one of the Banjo games, just something that really does press the threshold on the capabilities of the Nintendo 64, so we can see exactly how it plays. You know, I think when they have this on the show floor, they need to actually provide a couple of those games, or maybe whoever's going to E3 who might see this there and are able to test it there, bring your own copy of Banjo, Donkey Kong, Conquer. Bring something to kind of push the envelope a little bit to see how it works, to see if it's compatible. Put it through its paces, more or less. I'm also curious as to what more they could possibly do and what flavors they'll release this in, because if they only release it in like 2 flavors, which this is going to be, hold on, let me click it here. This is probably going to be the base one that most people get, and they'll probably release a white and blue one. If I were to make a prediction, they're going to release a black and gray, white and blue, maybe a red and black, purple and gray maybe. I can't see them releasing too many flavors of this. It would be nice if they would, maybe even a Pokemon inspired one. That would be nice to see, because a lot of people have played Pokemon Stadium on here, and it would be nice. Actually, that's another thing I want to see, how Pokemon Stadium would run on something like this with the transfer pack. That would be cool. That'd be cool. I would like to see that one day. I'm rambling on and on. I apologize. I'm just really excited for something like this. I'm a big fan of the Nintendo 64. I grew up on it, and so when I see something like this, it warms my heart, because that is my childhood, and I would love to own one of these so I can start doing, I would love to do Nintendo 64 content and actually have it be from a Nintendo 64 machine of sorts. Anyways, I'm gonna leave the video here. I hope you guys enjoyed hearing me ramble on and on about it. I'm gonna upload this as is. I might put my audio through some processing here and there, but this is gonna be like posted, everything. This is this is cool. This is really cool, and I really hope that it goes somewhere. I hope Nintendo doesn't shut this shit down. I hope that Hyperkin is on the ball, because I'm sorry, Hyperkin has made some awesome stuff. I own a few of their products. I've had some issues with their products in the past, but I've kind of gotten over that. I know Hyperkin can be on the ball when they really try, and I hope this is one of those cases that they are trying and they want to be on the ball, because the Nintendo 64 is such a hard market. It really is. It's almost like a cult classic console. Not as much as the GameCube is, but it is on that level because of how many people really got into the Nintendo 64. I mean, it sold decently, but because it was such a costly thing, because everything was going to CDs and Nintendo wanted to stay on cartridges, it's just jumble mess. I don't know what I'm saying anymore. I'm happy. I'm excited. I can't wait to see what more we see from the Ultra Retron. I'll probably start posting more frequently in this kind of format, reacting to what I see or talking about different stuff in the news, especially regarding the Ultra Retron, because I feel like that would actually pull me back into being more consistent. Anyways, I have been Mr. Rose, your favorite YouTuber, and not your favorite, your occasional YouTuber. And I will see you guys in the next video. I got gameplays and such. If you want to check them out, you know where to go. Anyways,